Peace and love, everybody out there. Let's go ahead and enjoy this holy day. All praise and glory belongs to the Almighty One. Let's go ahead and expose this season of Christmas. Who is the star of Christmas? Christmas is supposed to be about the birth of Christ, right? But we have another character that is the star of the show, Santa Claus. Santa Claus is Satan in disguise. In 2 Corinthians 11:14, it says, "And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light." Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. Santa is an anagram of Satan. Same exact name, just switch the letters around. Santa is this angelic-like being that people love, and he brings out the lights for Christmas. Lucifer means light bringer. Lucifer said in Isaiah 14:13, "For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation on the furthest side of the north. And I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." That's why they depict Santa Claus as flying on his throne, aka his sleigh, ascending above the heights of the clouds. And Santa Claus, he lives in the North Pole. Like Lucifer said, he will sit on the furthest sides of the north, the uppermost part of the north. The North Pole. The North Pole is the uppermost part of Earth. Now, you got little kids looking up into the heavens on December 24th to see if they could see the throne of Satan coming from the north, waiting for him to come into their house like a thief in the night. In 1 Thessalonians 5:2, it says, "For you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night." Satan wants to be like the Most High. Satan wants to replace the Messiah. And little children, they worship Santa Claus. Another name for Santa is Old Saint Nick. Old Nick means the devil. Look it up in the dictionary right here. It means the devil. Old Nick comes from the word iniquity. Iniquity means sin, gross injustice, and wickedness. Satan is the old iniquity, the old serpent. In Revelations 12:9, it says, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." Santa Claus deceived the whole world. What's another name for Santa Claus? Krampus. Krampus means claws. Satan's claws. Krampus is Santa Claus' true form, a devil-looking, goat-looking monster, the Baphomet. Krampus comes to snatch up the naughty kids and drag them into hell if they aren't being good for Santa Claus. Santa Claus sits on his throne in the middle of the palace of materialism, which is the mall, surrounded by elves. Elf mean nightmare. Elf mean nightmare. It's another word for goblin. A goblin is nothing but a reptilian demon. It's also another word for goblin, fairy, which is a jinn, incubus, evil spirit. Elves are Satan's legions of demons, his army of demons, and parents take their little children to the mall to go see Santa Claus and his elves under the pagan Nimrod tree. The little children, they excited to see him, and they sit on his lap and they pray to him, asking for gifts and toys. Once again, Satan wants to exalt his throne above the stars of God. He wants to replace the Messiah. Yahshua, peace be upon him, said, "Let the little kids come to him." In Matthew 19:13, it says, "Then the little children were brought to him that he might put his hands on them and pray. But the disciples rebuked them. But Isa said, 'Let the little children come to me, and do not forbid them, for of such is the kingdom of heaven.'" Today, parents, they take their little children to go see Santa Claus in the palace of materialism, which is the mall, so Satan could place his hands on them and answer their prayer. Little children, they ain't thinking about the kingdom of heaven. They only thinking about the kingdom of the North Pole. And then you got some kids, they write letters to the North Pole to speak to Santa Claus. Satan wants to be like the Most High. Satan wants to replace Jesus. Santa Claus, you know what I'm saying, he judges people with his good list and his naughty list, writing down the name of the good kids and the bad kids like he's God's, recording names in the book of life. And kids spend all year being good for Santa. Little children do good deeds for the pleasure of Santa Claus, old Saint Nick the Devil. Christmas used to be called Saturnalia in Roman Empire. Saturnalia is dedicated to the false god Saturn. Saturn is another name for Satan. Satan, Santa, and Saturn have the same root letters, S-A-T-N. Saturnalia occurred at the end of December, about December 17th through December 24th. It was a time for lawlessness and orgies and giving each other gifts and having a feast and getting drunk and role reversal. You know what I'm saying? They was popping each other, the men. You know what I'm saying? They was sodomites. They used this time to be sodomites. When Christianity started to take over the Roman Empire, they changed Saturnalia into Christmas so they could have an excuse to continue to celebrate that wicked festival under the disguise of it being Christ's birthday. Santa Claus comes from the pagan Norse god Odin. Santa Claus looks just like Odin. Odin is a one-eyed antichrist false god. Look at him, a one-eyed antichrist. A one-eyed antichrist. You can't make this up in the end days, man, where everything is being exposed before the destruction of Babylon America. The Nordic people, they believe Odin flew an 8-legged horse called Splanir, and he flew with an army of ghostly creatures during a winter event they called the Wild Hunt. That's where Santa Claus get the concept of flying reindeer and his army of elves. The Nordic people believe during the Wild Hunt that Odin will be out hunting for souls to snatch away. You know what I'm saying? They believe he come into their house and snatch their souls away at nighttime. So the Nordic people, they will go out into the forest and they will cut down evergreen trees and they will put them into their homes thinking that they had some kind of magical protection. They believe that these evergreen trees gave off a protecting life force since it was the only thing still alive and it was still green, the only thing that was still green during the winter. These people were dismayed and confounded. They thought during the blizzard and winter storms, it was the wild hunt of ghosts because the wind blowing sounded ghostly and scary. You know what I'm saying? When the blizzard blowing and the wind howling, they thought it was the wild hunt with Odin and his army of ghost demons. Winter was a big deal for the Nordic people. They barely got any sunlight because they live close to the North Pole. They live close to the Arctic Circle where the sun barely shines during the winter time. It was a time of death and cold and darkness. They will also take some Yule logs and burn them in a fireplace to please Odin so he won't take their souls away. Now we understand where they got the concept of Santa Claus, the flying spirit that visits people's house who has an evergreen tree inside and they burning down a Yule log in the fireplace. Santa wears a Mithra hat. Mithra is a sun god that the ancient Persians used to worship. Mithra was born on December 25th. People who worship the sun, they wore this religious hat to show their devoutness. So don't wear this pagan hat, y'all, man. It means you are a sun worshiper, man. That's where it come from. It has pagan origins. The question is, where did Odin and Mithra come from? This is where the full circle comes to completion. They are different names for Nimrod, the ancient powerful king of Babylon. Ancient Babylon, the source of all this wickedness and idolatry. Decorating trees came from ancient Babylon. When Nimrod died, his wife, who was also believed to be his mother, the sick, twisted whore of Babylon, Semiramis, she wanted to retain her power after Nimrod died because it wasn't favorable for a woman to lead. So to retain her power, she lied and announced to the people of Babylon that an evergreen tree sprouted overnight from a dead tree stump. After Nimrod died, she said this represents the rebirth of Nimrod. She lied to the people and said Nimrod's spirit went up to the sun and took possession of the sun, and now he was the sun god. So she told people to start worshiping the sun in honor for Nimrod, who was now the sun god Baal. This is the origin of sun worship. Since Nimrod was now a sun god, that will mean that Semiramis, she was now a goddess. No longer was she known as the queen of Babylon. Now she was known as the queen of heaven, the goddess of Babylon. Now she had even more power than before. She consulted with the astrologers of Babylon, and they informed her of a great sign in heaven every year. They told her that every year the sun will stay still on December 21st for 3 days and begin to rise on December 25th. So Semiramis, she announced to the people that every year on December 25th that Nimrod's spirit will return to visit this evergreen tree, and that people should bring gifts to the tree and decorate it so he could bless everybody that brought a gift to the tree. And every year the people of Babylon will decorate this tree to honor Nimrod. However, Semiramis wanted to convince the people even more about the legitimacy of her deity status. So she devised a plan, and she let a man impregnate her on March 25th with the intention of giving birth 9 months later on December 25th. After committing fornication and getting pregnant around March 25th, this whore of Babylon, Semiramis, she gave birth to Tammuz. She claimed Tammuz was born on December 25th. She lied to the people again and said that Nimrod got her pregnant through the sun rays, and he was born reincarnated through her as Tammuz on December 25th. So now the people of Babylon had their king Nimrod back in the form of baby Tammuz. So December 25th was really a great time of celebration and festivities in the empire of Babylon. This was thousands of years before the birth of Christ. Babylon was the first New York City on earth. People from all over the world would come and visit and learn, and whatever trend Babylon started, the rest of the world will soon mimic. Just like today, whatever trend New York starts, the rest of the world will mimic. Because the Babylonians celebrated December 25th, it became a trend, and then eventually they influenced everybody around the earth. It spread all over the earth. Different cultures adopted this custom and carried on the story, making up their own names for Nimrod, such as Mithra and Odin and Ra in Egypt. Semiramis, she had many names in different cultures. Ishtar, you know what I'm saying, today she's worshipped as Easter. Isis in Egypt, Aphrodite, Venus, Inanna, Europa, Astarte. Semiramis wanted her husband to forever be worshipped as a god, and she wanted to forever to be worshipped as a goddess. And the spell she casted over the earth works even to this day. As we can see, Santa Claus is just another form of Nimrod. Look at this ancient artifact right here from Nineveh, depicting Nimrod with a long beard, holding the palm tree and holding the reindeer. Nimrod is the first Santa Claus, but Nimrod is dead. His spirit isn't returning. So what spirit is returning every December 25th? Satan. Old Saint Nick, the devil who deceived the entire world. The Christmas tree represents the tree of life. Satan whispered into Semiramis's ear to cause her to come up with this wicked lie that an evergreen tree sprouted from the dead tree stump after Nimrod's death. Satan had all this planned out from the beginning. He knew one day that the world would worship him under this disguise, Santa Claus. That's why the garland is wrapped around the trees, the Christmas trees, to represent the serpent from the forbidden tree in the Garden of Eden, where mankind first fell victim to the first iniquity, the first sin. Old Nick, the serpent devil. Satan, he likes celebrating his evil works that he did. That's why he got this Christmas tree being celebrated, which represents the tree in the Garden of Eden that he used to deceive Eve. And once again, he used the tree to deceive Semiramis, to deceive the Babylonians, to deceive the rest of mankind until today. Let's read the book of Jeremiah chapter 10. Hear the word which the Lord speaks to you, O house of Israel. Thus says the Lord, do not learn the way of the heathen. Do not be dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cuts a tree from the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They decorate it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers so that it will not topple. They are upright like a palm tree, and they cannot speak. They must be carried, because they cannot go by themselves. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, nor can they do any good. As we can see here in this verse, the creator of the heavens and the earth does not want the children of Israel to partake in the customs of the heathen. A heathen is a Gentile, a non-Israelite person that doesn't believe in the God of Abraham. The Greeks, the Romans, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, the Nordic people, the Hindu, the Buddhists are all heathens. They worship their false gods like Zeus, Jupiter, Apollo, Ra, Horus, Osiris, Mithra, Nimrod, Baal, Moloch, idols and statues and aliens and jinns and all kinds of madness going on. They were dismayed at the signs of heaven. Dismayed means they were stressed, they was worried, they had utter confusion and anxiety. And the sign of heaven that they were dismayed at was the winter solstice. It's winter time. Everything is getting cold. The days are getting shorter and shorter and darker. On December 21st, it's the shortest day of the year. On December 21st, it's the shortest day of the year. Then for 3 days, the sun isn't moving. The heathen were confounded and dismayed. They thought that the sun god died and was getting weak. They thought winter would last forever. No food, no crops, no warmth. So they felt that they had to please the sun god and make him stronger so he could return and make the days longer again. Back then, they didn't have watches and cell phones to tell time. They had to determine the time and season by looking up at the sun. So once they saw this event happening up in the heavens, the sky with the sun, they felt that they had to go into the forest and cut down a tree with their axe. Some people, you know what I'm saying, they carved idols out of these trees. Some made patterns out of these trees. And some, they just shaped it into a nice pyramid shape. And then they will decorate it with silver and gold. They will take gold and beat it into certain shapes. And take the silver and beat it. You know, the craftsman, he beat it into certain shapes. Or they might make a chest plate armor for the idol carved gods they made, and then they will dress these idols up in purple and blue clothes. Today, people no longer make carved idols out of these trees. They just keep it into a pyramid shape and place silver and gold ornaments decorating it, and blue and purple garlands wrapped around it, and all different colors of lights and figurines and idols of angels on top of the tree, and figurines of nutcrackers and all kinds of graven images hanging from these trees. They will fasten these idols with nails and hammers so it wouldn't fall over. It was upright like the palm tree. People believed that if they didn't have this idol tree in their homes, that it would do them harm. People believe it will do them good. The Most High told us that there is no harm and no good in these trees. Do not be afraid of the winter solstice. It's all vain. It's all about showing off. Don't be afraid of the wild hunts of Odin. Do not believe that Nimrod is coming back to visit this decorated tree every year. There is only one true God. In Jeremiah 10:8, it goes on to say, but they are altogether brutish and foolish. The tree is a doctrine of vanities. Brutish means senseless. They were stupid. The idol tree, or the wooden idol, in Hebrew, the word is es, which can mean both tree or wood. Vanity has two definitions: quality of being worthless, and excessive pride or admiration of one's own appearance or achievements. The Christmas tree is stupid and foolish according to God Almighty. It's a worthless doctrine, and it's all about pride and admiration. It's vain. People put up these decorated trees and they decorate their homes to show their neighbors that they got better lights, they have a bigger tree, they have more decorations. Neighbors compete with each other who can have the best decorated houses and yards. People look at these trees and they admire it. In Isaiah 14:8, it says, yeah, the fir trees rejoice at you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you are laid down, no feller is come up to cut us down. This verse is talking about how the land will rejoice when Babylon is finally destroyed. Fir trees and cedar trees are the two most popular evergreen trees that people cut down to decorate as Christmas trees. You see how the Most High makes things clear and specific in His word? The fir tree and cedar tree will rejoice when Babylon, America, is destroyed, because every year millions of trees are cut down and killed for a vain pagan Babylonian custom. When Babylon is cut down and destroyed, that means no longer will people come to cut down the fir tree and the cedar tree. So they will rejoice because the feller no longer comes to cut them down. Feller is an old English word for one who cuts down trees, a lumberjack. Even the fir trees can't wait till America is destroyed so you foolish people will stop cutting them down for a vain, folly day. The Most High hates Christmas, and He hates Christmas songs. In Amos 5:21, it says, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Even though you offer me burnt offerings and you offer meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Take you away from me the noise of your songs, for I will not hear the melody of your viols. He hates your feast days. He hates Thanksgiving. He hates Christmas. He hates all feasts that's dedicated to evil and that's dedicated to pagan origins. He don't want to smell your food. He don't want to smell in your solemn assemblies. When you assemble together with your family and friends and y'all holding hands and praying over the food and saying your grace and you offering your food to Him, He don't want to smell that. He will not accept it. Why? Because you celebrate these pagan feast days, yet you won't partake in any of the feast days listed in his Torah. He said, take away from me the noise of your songs. All month long, people sing Christmas carols and they play Christmas songs on the radio and the PA system at work and at school and at the mall and grocery stores. Everywhere you go, they play Christmas movies all month long. Movies dedicated to Santa Claus, who is Satan in disguise. The Most High don't want to hear these annoying songs. He said, take it away. It's noise to him. He don't want to hear your jingle bells and your viols and your merry instruments. Also, people eat pork on these feast days. They dedicate pork to God when they say their grace on the day they claim it's the Messiah's birthday. And the Messiah is the King of Jews. It's a well-known fact that Jews don't eat pork. Yet people bring out the holiday ham, the pig in blankets. They make jello shots with pork gelatin, marshmallows which contain pork gelatin. Y'all make pork ribs for Christmas, holiday drinks with gummy bears, and the worst of them all, many people eat chitlins on Christmas. That's pure disrespect on another level. They wait until Thanksgiving and Christmas to eat the most disgusting part of the most disgusting animal, the pig. Pig guts. They have the audacity to touch pig rectum and pig booty hole and squeeze out dookie and clean it out and boil it and season it and slurp it down as a holiday dish. Sick, twisted, bamboozled, slave-minded coons. The Most High said pork is unclean and he don't even want us to touch its carcass, its dead body. In Leviticus 11:7, it says, and the swine, though he divided the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you. Of their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcass you shall not touch. They are unclean to you. Because the pig does not chew its cud. It doesn't digest its food properly. That means it's filled with toxins and parasites and all kind of disease in our body. That's why people who eat pork, they got a lot of disease. They catch cancer, they catch heart disease, and they clog arteries and diabetes and all kind of mad stuff going on with their body because they eat an unclean meat. Swine is pig, pork, bacon, pork chops, sausage, ham, hot dogs, gelatin, gummy worms, gummy bears, Skittles, Starburst, bologna, pepperoni, bacon bits. We can't eat none of the swine's flesh nor touch it. And for you brothers that like to use the wave brushes, you know what I'm saying, brushing your hair, making sure your wave's spinning, you got to make sure that the brush is not made out of boar bristle. Boar bristle is pig hair. This sick nation got our brothers brushing their hair all day long with pig hair. In Isaiah 65:3, it says, a people who provoke me to anger continually to my face, who sacrifice in gardens and burn incense on altars of bricks, who sit amongst the graves and spend the night in the tombs, who eat swine's flesh and the broth of abominable things in their vessels. People who eat pork, they continue to provoke anger to the Lord's face. And people who eat a broth of abominations in their vessels, which means people who eat seafood boils with shrimp, crab, lobster, mussel, crawfish, people who eat gumbo with alligator and possum in it and crawfish and all kinds of abominations. Isaiah 66:17 says, they that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and the abomination and the mouse shall perish together, saith the Lord. People who declare themselves to be holy, which means to sanctify themselves, with one tree idle in the midst of their homes or in their gardens, in their front yard or in the courtyard downtown somewhere. They declare to be purified and sanctified while eating swine's flesh. Pork on Christmas, for example, is an example of that, and other abominations they eat. And you have people who eat mice on Christmas when they go to the Chinese restaurant because that's the only spot open, and the Chinaman, he don't care about you niggas, so he cooking up rats and mice and mixing it in with the chicken and pouring sauce and rice on top of it and giving it to you because that's his culture to eat cats, rice, mice, and dogs. All these people will perish together who eat swine's flesh and mice. Stop eating that Chinese spots, man. You can't trust their meat, man. They mice eaters. Not all of them, but you never know who. And eating chitlins It comes from slavery. The slave master was a grimy devil. He knew the slaves were the children of Israel who are not allowed to eat pork. So the only thing the slave master fed our ancestors was pork scraps. The slave master, he butchered the pig and he kept the desired parts of the meat for himself and his family, but he threw the scraps of the pig to the starving slaves. The pig feet, the pig ears, the pig tail, the pig guts, chitlins. Sick, twisted, grimy race of people. And they fed our people these pig guts because they knew it would keep us cursed and destroyed and as slaves, because they knew that when the children of Israel eat pork, it will bring a curse upon them. The slave masters knew who he was, man. And our ancestors, they were in survival mode. The women, they took the chitlins and they squeezed out the dookie and they made the best of what they had. After slavery was over, our ancestors carried on that tradition. Even to this day, you have slave-minded coons that carry on the tradition of eating chitlins. They don't never want to be free mentally. They want to go back to the plantation, ignorant coons. And after slavery, our ancestors, they didn't know who they were. They were mentally destroyed. They couldn't read. They didn't have the internet and smartphones back then. So they looked up to the white race as the superior race. They seen white people celebrate Christmas and having a good time and passing gifts and cooking and having a feast and singing and decorating. And everything was merry and jolly. So our ancestors, they copy off the customs of the white people, thinking that that was the way to go. That was the holiday that they had to celebrate also. But in these end days, we are waking up. The scriptures are being revealed clearly in these end days, so no man can no longer deny and no longer be deceived. Christmas has nothing to do with us black men and black women in America. This is heathen customs of the Babylonians and the Romans and the Germans and the Europeans. December 25th is all about Satan worship, sun worship. Everywhere you look, people are displaying idols and blow-up dolls and figures and images of Santa Claus. That's Satan. He wants to be worshipped, and they got images of him everywhere. The red, hairy demon coming out of the smoke and fire to curse every house that has a decorated tree idol in the midst of it. Another name for Santa Claus is Father Christmas. Christmas is the day of lies. Semiramis lied to the people of Babylon. The Romans lied and said Saturnalia was now the birth of Christ. Santa Claus is a lie that parents teach their kids. They lied and said Jesus was born on this day. Lie on top of lie on top of lie. Father Christmas is the father of lies. In John 8:44, it says, "You are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father will you do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar, and the father of it." There is no truth in Santa Claus. There is no truth in Christmas. It's time to wake up, y'all, and break this curse. Break this damn snare. These idols is a snare unto our people. In Psalms 106:36, it says, "And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them." Y'all serving Santa Claus, and he's a snare unto our people. Every year, our people are trapped and snared by Santa Claus and Christmas. The mothers are stressed out, and they struggling to buy gifts for their kids. People trying to figure out how will they afford their Christmas shopping. People feel obligated to please their children and loved ones and their girlfriend and wife and husbands and boyfriends to buy them gifts. Our people are bugged out, man. This isn't the spirit of God. Many people are depressed and they feel suicidal during this time of the year, during the holidays. Kids are mad and they are ungrateful because they didn't get the gift they wanted, or they become sad. Parents feel so much pressure during this holiday to buy, spend, spend, spend. This Christmas spirit is not the spirit of God, it's the spirit of Satan. All this materialism. Money is the root of all evil. That's why people put a pyramid in the middle of their homes. The Christmas tree is a pyramid, like the back on a dollar bill. The Christmas tree is the Tower of Babylon. Y'all got a mini Tower of Babylon in your homes, but them days is over with. It's time to throw out that BS and get rid of that cursed abomination in your homes. In Deuteronomy 7:25, it says, "The graven images of their gods shall you burn with fire. You shall not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto you." lest you be snared by it, for it is an abomination to the Lord thy God. Neither shall you bring an abomination into your house, lest you be a cursed thing like it, but you shall utterly detest it, and you shall utterly hate it, for it is a cursed thing. Other translations say it is set apart for destruction. Don't bring this idol into your home, or you will be snared by it. You will be cursed like it. You will be destroyed when the Messiah returns and catch this thing in your house. Stop feeding the American economy with your Christmas shopping, man. That's why Americans stay up, man. Y'all keep giving all y'all money to these American pagan holidays, man. Save your money and stop being snared. Stop stressing about how you're going to pay your bills and go Christmas shopping. The Most High intends ease for us, not hardship, not to vanity, not to bragging about gifts and decorations and who got the biggest tree. I know Christmas songs, they make you feel good. The Christmas lights is pretty and alluring. The Christmas movies has a warm feeling. We love the snacks and the desserts and the cakes and the cookies and the candy and the gifts and the singing and the parties. Y'all love all that, but that's Satan's power. He makes evil deeds seem beautiful to us. He makes them seem fair to us. He makes our path of error seem alluring to us. Let's read the Holy Quran, Surah 15:39. Bismillahi ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Iblis, Satan said, "My Lord, because you have put me in error, I will surely make disobedience attractive to them on earth, and I will mislead them all, except your chosen servants among them." Surah 6:43. Then why, when our punishment came to them, did they not humble themselves, but their hearts became hardened, and Satan made attractive to them which they were doing? Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good. I know you want to do all this for the kids, but the Messiah said in Matthew 10:37, "He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." You got to train up your child when they are young. I grew up not celebrating Christmas. Billions of kids around the earth grew up without celebrating Christmas. Every kid in the world didn't grow up Christian. We were smart enough to know that our parents were telling us the truth, that it was a pagan holiday. We wasn't sad or depressed. We were loyal to God Almighty. Y'all need to stop acting like kids gonna die without Christmas. Don't teach them babies lies and curses and materialism worship. In Proverbs 22:6, it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." You got 365 days out of the year to buy gifts and toys for your kids. You ain't gotta wait until the pagan day to do it. Stop following the customs of the pagans. I'm out, y'all. I destroy Halloween, I destroy Thanksgiving, and I destroy Christmas. Next in line is the false New Year's dedicated to the Roman demon god Janus. January 1st. The real New Year's begins in March, April, spring, according to the Torah, according to the God of the heavens and the earth. The world is ending, and we got to get the hell away from all these Roman, Babylonian holidays reincarnated here in America. Get rid of these satanic spirits seducing you into following after these false doctrines and holidays and foolishness. Everything is being exposed in these end days. I want y'all to go ahead and press like and subscribe, man. But before we go, let's end with this verse. 1 Peter 4:3. For you have spent enough time in the past doing what pagans choose to do, living in debauchery, lust, drunkenness, orgies, kerosene, and abominable idolatry. They are surprised that you do not join them in their reckless, wild living, and they speak evil of you. But they will have to give account to him who is ready to judge the living and the dead. The end of all things is near. Therefore, be alert and of sober mind, and be watchful unto prayer. We gotta pray more often in these end days. Stay sober. Stop living like pagans with their parties and their drunkenness and their orgies and their fornication. The end is near. Yeah, people gonna look at you strange, and they gonna look at you crazy because you don't partake in their wild living, and you don't partake in the wild celebration holidays, and they talking about you behind your back and speaking evil of you. But as we just read, that's expected. We expect them to do that. but they will have to stand account with God for their reckless living. Santa Claus has been exposed. The Christmas tree has been exposed. Feast days and Christmas songs and all that BS has been exposed. Eating pork has been exposed. All praise be to Allah, the exalted one who is worthy of worship, who sent down the Torah, the Psalms, the Gospel, and the Quran to lead mankind to the straight path. I'm out.